edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens and Uncle Joe McLaughlin. Well, hopefully JP's first son, Tim Hoey, will be joining us shortly. Boys, we start with the New England Patriots. I have to admit, Russell was not on at the in-studio show last week, but Russell, all three of us had the Patriots losing. It looked like at that point we figured they were maybe going 0-17, but the defense showed up on Sunday. That's a good win in Pittsburgh in their opening game.
Look, any win is a good win when you lose your first game, right? You need the first win. If you don't get that first win, it's hard to believe, and it's hard for all of us as fans to believe that that the year can be a good year. Need hope. So it gave us hope, thankfully.
Yeah. Joe, the defense really, look, they've come through and they've played well. They've been solid the first two games. Other than that one play to end the half against the Dolphins, they've been pretty tight.
Yeah, you got to give it to them. The Steelers aren't any great shakes on offense with Mitch Trubisky, but the week before against Miami, they held their own. And we saw this week how many points did Miami put up, like 35 on Baltimore there to win that game.
Yeah, and Timmy, welcome JP's first son, Tim Hoey. Look, Pittsburgh scored a bunch of points and beat the Cincinnati Bengals the week prior, and then the Patriots pretty much held them in check.
They're a very unsexy team. The Patriots are right. They're rather bland. But the school's still. My judgment is still out. You know what I mean?
It's game two.
I saw a regression in Mac.
Oh my God, we can't do that every week. Come on.
Are you in love? Are you in love with this guy, Scotty?
I love him. Of course, I love him.
Are you gonna be honest when he doesn't perform
well?
Regression.
I'm with you, Tim. I'm with you 100%.
I'm usually on the bash Mac wagon, but this time I'll come to his defense. His strength has always been play action. They haven't run play action at all. Matter of fact, they run the least play action in the league so far through two games. It's just the game plan that they have against teams, and they don't suit his strengths right now.
From what I see, he's not a great quarterback. He's above.
Oh, for God's sake!
No one called him a great quarterback.
He's an above. He might be a little bit above average quarterback. I mean, he's an NFL quarterback. I'll give him that.
Who's played 18? Who's played 19 regular season games? Yeah. I mean,
Scotty, the knock on him is, and the big knock was he reached his ceiling. He's not a Josh Allen where all this potential is hiding inside of him. I think kind of what we see now is what we're going to get.
No, that's not even close to being right.
That's what I think.
Russell, look.
I have a couple of things. I have a couple of things to say. I don't think that any rational observer can say that he played a good game the other day.
No.
However, I don't think it goes to, is Mac a good quarterback? Is a winning quarterback or not winning quarterback, or does he have a high enough ceiling? I think he just played a bad game, and I do believe he played a bad game. As you guys know, I was listening to the second half on the radio, and when Zoe starts blurting out, missed receivers in the middle of a play from Mac Jones, you pay attention because he's a big Mac fan. And
he's an NFL quarterback.
And I watched some breakdowns of plays today, and Mac missed guys that were open. Mac forced the balls. He threw it too early. I think he had a bad game. However, let's remember, he was hurt the week before. Then he missed another day of practice. He's not getting great coaching, right? So I don't think Mac's a good enough quarterback to overcome an injury, a missed day of practice, and poor coaching.
Yeah, Timmy, we can't do this every week. If he has a bad game, throw his career in the shitter.
Scotty, I'm not throwing his career in the shitter. I'm saying is kind of what we see. I think that's kind of gonna be what we get from Mac Jones. I don't think there's this ascending superstar. I think he kind of is now what he's gonna be. That's my opinion.
I mean, all quarterbacks get better. Guys,
Not all,
Josh
not
Allen,
all.
year 2 was terrible. I mean,
Yeah,
and
but you could see what was there though. You could see it.
well, you can see that. You can see that in Mac Jones. Look, he clearly had a bad game, but I would also blame the coaching staff. If you notice, I don't know what the hell. Every time it went down to 2 or 1 second before he snapped the ball, I don't know what was happening with the play calling. Everybody on that offensive side looked disorganized.
Yeah, they don't have the operation isn't down yet, right? Like that's the thing you always hear, right? Is like, what's their game operation? Are they getting in plays? Are they crisp coming out of the huddle? Are there delay of game penalties? Are there?
Yeah, Mac's internal clock isn't all that great yet.
They're not there yet with this offense. But look, it was an improvement, right?
Joe, offensive line, you have to give props to.
Well, let's be a little slow there. One of the reasons why he didn't get touched or hurried the whole game. They pitched a perfect shutout against Pittsburgh, but neither tight end went out for passes, right? Not a single one caught a pass. Little Jordan Humphreys was in on almost half the plays, and he was in there to block. They were giving the offensive line some help too. They were making sure he didn't get touched. It might be the back injury or whatever, but they were making sure he didn't get touched.
Well, there was Timmy. He was gun shy after week 1. I really think that was a residual of him getting hurt, like Russ said, but getting smacked around all game against the Dolphins, and that can affect the guy, especially early in the season.
Well, welcome to the NFL. You know.
Yeah.
Well, he never showed.
He's
Russell, he
going
never showed.
How'd you like to be Jim Plunkett?
He's been. He's. Oh my. Why are you so hard
Well,
on
Scotty,
that?
why are you putting this guy up on the altar?
Can't you see it?
Really, I see what I see. I don't see a guy with a lot of tools, Scotty. That's what I see.
Look, if they redid that draft last year, right now, I still believe this is my opinion. Trevor Lawrence goes 1, and Mac Jones goes 2.
3. 3.
Scotty, it doesn't.
Oh.
Maybe that doesn't say much
Three
about the
to
other
San
guys that were
Fran.
taken.
No,
But when I
no.
look
Meaning,
at when I look at the elite quarterbacks in this league, I just don't see him possessing the tools to get to that level.
Russ, do you agree with Timmy?
I think that Mac Jones is very likely to be the second best quarterback in that class. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL because I don't think he has the athletic ability to be a top 5 quarterback. But do I think he can be somewhere between 6 and 10 and capable of winning a Super Bowl? Absolutely, with the right players and the right coaches. Look, one thing that we can say after the first 2 weeks is we do not have speed at the wide receiver level that some of these other teams have. You watch the Dolphins, you watch the Minnesota Vikings, you watch 2 out of every 3 other teams in the NFL have blazing fast receivers, and we have nobody with that kind of speed.
No.
The
You know,
Bengals.
that's Belichick's failure to ever, go out. Well, he drafts wide receivers horribly, number one. And he's never really got. You're never going to see.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What about the guy on the injured reserve right now?
Yeah,
Who's
well, hopefully the
fastest receiver in the NFL?
But we haven't seen him on the field, Joe. So
Right. But
don't
you can't say he hasn't drafted speed because there.
Well,
Right.
no,
But I said he hasn't drafted well. I
Right.
said he hasn't
Yeah,
drafted
right.
well.
And so I have a friend who's French and says that in France, Devontae Parker is N'Keal Harry.
Zero catches. And
Hey,
couldn't
and
get open.
Aguilar looked like he was doing his N'Keal Harry imitation, winning that one-on-one battle for the ball there for the touchdown.
But what is it? That's a great point that you guys make. Why everybody else has speed? We have guys who are supposedly good in 50-50 balls.
Well, look at what those guys are getting paid. Do you see Belichick shelling that kind of money out for any wide receiver?
Well, he's going to have to in the future because that's the market. He's not getting any top guys without paying them big bucks. I mean, that's just it.
They're making the rules more and more conducive to big wide receiver plays.
Speed kills you can't fabricate speed. You need speed at the wide receiver position. Now, when Thornton comes back, that'll give us some. Maybe Kendrick Bourne works it all out. Like, it's not like we don't have a shot at it, but you just look at these guys that are running past cornerbacks and safeties every night in the NFL, and we don't have anyone who can do that.
No. And our tight ends, who we spend a shitload of money paying,
Nothing.
Hunter Henry, a lot of these guys on Twitter, they can isolate him, just guys on the street like us. And Hunter Henry is literally doing nothing. There's already talk like, why is he still on the team? Why don't they cut him?
Wow.
I haven't heard that.
Big time, Joe.
But
All
on
over
Twitter?
Twitter. They isolate him all the time. There's times he doesn't even block. And look, Hunter Henry was a key part of the offense last year, and he played well. Where has he been?
Well, what happened to him?
Speaking
What's
of,
the
we're
change?
catching a break with Baltimore's got some real speed at the receiver position, but Duvernay is not probably going to play because he's got a concussion last week on that cheap hit by Miami.
So is this going to be a plotting year where we're going to try to win every game 17-14?
Yeah. I
Yep.
think
Looks-
that's
it looks like that's
Scotty.
what we're
I
in
think-
for.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what they did. Look at what they did at the end of the game the other day. They ran the ball, and God bless the offensive line. They were able to run the ball, and that's not a bad defense either. By the
Dan
way,
Ramondre Stevenson.
and
Yeah, that's his boy.
they did exactly what you need to do to win a football game late. Is you ran the ball down the throats of the other team on the road, right? That's a reason to be hopeful.
And last year it didn't feel like they could close defensively or offensively.
Yeah.
Last year didn't feel like there was anytime they needed a key stop, they never got it.
Well, and like the big deal was the two plays in the first game that went the other way, changed the game. This time, the two plays were both punts. We got lucky that Bryant just, boxed it around and out the end zone to save that one. And then, of course, our old favorite gunner taking one off that face mask for us.
And don't forget, we gave up that third 17. That was disgusting.
Yeah.
And look,
They gave up a 3rd and 15 though, too. So
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
even.
Look, when the Patriots were going really well and they had that great streak last year, it really defensively was all about Judon. And now all of a sudden, and then he got COVID and that was it for the season. Now we're going back to the Matthew Judon we know and love, Russell. The guy's a monster.
Look, I think you got to be, in retrospect, given what Miami did to Baltimore on Sunday and what they put up 42 points, we played pretty decent defense. And I think the line has been pretty reasonable. And I think the defensive backfield, from all accounts, Jonathan Jones is actually playing a pretty good cornerback on the boundary, and if that's the case, and Mills can play a decent quarterback and Bryant can play in the slot, and Mac Wilson made a nice athletic play. We didn't have a linebacker last year who could make the play that Mac Wilson did.
No.
Yeah,
right?
great play.
Yeah,
We need
I don't know.
linebackers to make plays this week, to kind of corral that Lamar Jackson, because he's a threat on every play.
and not a lot of missed tackles in the first two games. So
Tackled well,
Yeah.
we're not hearing not hearing a lot of bad words being said about Stevie Belichick and Gerard Mayo right now, are we?
No, great point. Yeah, and Timmy, I thought a couple of the blitzes were just perfectly timed. He didn't blitz a lot that against the Steelers, but every one of them was perfect.
Now, the Steelers beat the crap out of somebody the week before, right?
No, it was a crazy
Cincinnati.
overtime game against the Bengals that they won. But
And the Bengals, we don't know if the Bengals are 0-2. Am I correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the Bengals, they finished strong last year, but we don't know if they're going to be the same Bengals.
They were in
You
the
do have
Super
that
Bowl.
good quarterback, but
They could have won
the
the Super
NFL teams
Bowl.
go up and down.
Yeah,
But wasn't it an unusual game? Blitzburg didn't blitz all game. I never saw a Pittsburgh Pats game where there wasn't at least 15, 20 blitzes.
I think that Mac's performance against the blitz last year, Joe, was quite good statistically. So I don't know. Like, look, here's the bottom line. We need the offense to become more dynamic as the season goes on.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not out of the question that they can do that, right? It's not out of the question that they'll get better in week 3 and 4 and 5. And by the time we hit week 9, they have an offensive system that doesn't look like a high school system. But right now, it kind of looks like a high school system. There's no play action. There's no RPOs. There's no real deep threats. It's just a lot of dink and dunk kind of basic offense.
Yeah. And I don't understand that because a lot of the same guys are back in the fold. You would have thought they would have done that. I know that Josh.
Well, I think that's just game plan. You'll see more of that against different teams, definitely against Baltimore.
And McDaniels, each year as it went on, McDaniels did more and more trick plays. I mean, you'd get sometimes 2-3 a game, not one trick play, not one reverse, not one anything. I mean,
you got to keep it in your pocket. Jacoby Myers was a quarterback in high school and college, so look for him.
You do not want to be running trick plays in the first quarter of a game against the other conference, and that's what they were doing last year. To be honest with you, remember we were even saying on our text like, "What are you doing running all these trick plays in the first quarter of these like nondescript games?"
Yeah, it seemed desperate.
It did.
Desperate.
You save those for desperate moments.
Yeah.
But also, look, we're 1-1, and we're going home. We're going home.
There's hope. We have hope.
You know, and there's a lot of guys, people who go to the Gillette Stadium, I heard, and will be rooting on the team, and hopefully there'll be a good home team this year. And it all starts with the Ravens. Ravens are a crazy team because the Ravens historically have been about defense. This year, it looks like they're all about, they're just running guns, shooting it up.
Did you see Jackson's stats from last week on DraftKings? They were astounding.
When he was blitzed, he was 13 for 16 for 252 yards and 3 touchdowns. You don't blitz him.
Andy ran for over 100 yards.
Look, but all of us on this show, everybody watching the NFL draft that night said, okay, he's going to take Lamar Jackson. What was it, 29th pick or something? And who did he end up taking?
Was that Harris, Joe?
No, Harris was a 2nd round pick.
Yeah. It wasn't Nikhil.
I can't remember. It wasn't Nikhil.
He totally fanned on that. Can you imagine the transition from Brady to Lamar Jackson and the excitement that would be in this town right now if we had Lamar as our quarterback?
How long has Lamar been in the league now?
So 4 years?
4 years.
We were all screaming for Brady to get benched for Rohan Davey, remember?
No,
because we like that running quarterback.
No, not Rohan Davey, but no, I think it was many years ago. What was the guy's name? Remember there was a running quarterback that we all liked. But no,
Jacoby Brissett.
Look, Belichick in his press conference today said that the Ravens are going to have to pay Lamar big. So I don't know what sick thrill he's getting. Another fan by Bill Belichick in the draft. He should have picked him.
Hey, Lamar he's going to be a free agent.
Lamar
Joe, you're not going to be happy about this. The answer to that question of who the Patriots picked instead of Lamar?
Sony Michel.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Wow.
Or Isaiah Wynn. Take your pick.
Both
from Georgia and both duds. Both first rounders.
But see, well, remember, Russ, he wanted Nick Chubb.
Oh, yes. And look at Chubb's been the best running back in the NFL ever since. Nothing but the best.
You want to get Joe Hart
for a crappy team with a crappy offensive line to boot.
And our second round pick that year was the immortal Duke Dawson, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God! No wonder we're in the predicament we're in right now.
He's no Cyrus Jones though. That was the worst second round pick. Cyrus Jones. He was nothing but trouble.
Joe John Williams was.
At least he's played on special. Joe Juan has played special teams in Philadelphia.
Raul Dowling, remember him? He was another second round pick.
Rasai Dowling, yeah, he never even played at him.
Rasai Dowling.
He never played, and we've had so many.
That was our personnel director's father that recommended him, Al Grove, at Virginia. Remember?
How do these guys still have jobs? It's beyond me.
Well, yeah, that's a great point. Joe Algro's son is the one who runs the personnel department of the Patriots. So, and he had a good draft last year. I thought Barmore played well.
Yeah.
It's a
He doesn't listen to his father, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, this has been reported on. Timmy, you said it. When you trace the problems that the Patriots have right now, you can't ignore that 2018 draft. Isaiah Wynn, Sony Michel, Duke Dawson, then Jawan Bentley, thank God, at least we've got something out of him. Christian Sam, Braxton Berrios, who is playing in the NFL, just not for us.
The Jets.
And then 3 scrubs.
No,
That's your draft.
do the 19 draft was even worse.
It's brutal.
No,
It's
you
really-
can't.
It's
You can't.
really brutal.
I mean, these guys should be starting in the NFL for the New
Well,
England
I
Patriots.
really don't blame Caserio all that much because his scouting staff had been raped. Everyone signed all their scouts. They didn't have any scouts left. That's
Okay.
why they were listening to the University of Georgia coach.
Well, just listen to Nick Saban from now on. I like those Alabama guys.
Well, he might have been the one who said Sony Michel too.
Right.
Michelle
they
wasn't
play
the
him
wor-
twice
Michelle
a
was-
year.
Michelle wasn't the worst. I mean, he wasn't the best, but he wasn't the worst.
No, I agree with Timmy. Yeah,
No.
right. He helped win us a Super Bowl.
Oh, he would have been a great 4th round pick.
Well, what are you talking about? He played 4th round. Come on. Sony Michel was one of the reasons we won the Super Bowl. Without Sony Michel, we don't win the 18 Super Bowl.
But he couldn't run without a fullback. You had to have someone holding his hand.
So look. Joe has Sony Michel. I have James Young.
Yeah.
Gotti has David Krejci, and Timmy has Tuukka Rask. Right? We all have somebody.
It's true.
We all have somebody.
Timmy don't like him because he can't have that long drink.
All right, so Bill Belichick gets to keep his job for one more week, fellas. Let's do our predictions. We'll go with Uncle Joseph.
Wait. How did we do last week?
We
0-3.
lost. We all predicted the Steelers to win, right?
Although I predicted the exact score, just with the wrong.
Okay. Let's give.
I
you
did
the
have
half of-
17-13.
You win on opposite day.
Yeah.
Yes, SpongeBob.
On SpongeBob, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Come on, Joseph. Give us your prediction.
Okay.
Wait, first of all, what's the spread?
3, which is shockingly low. I think
Who's favorite?
Baltimore.
Baltimore. What's the over-under's got to be? I would take the under. Just thinking.
Do you realize the Patriots were 3-point favorites last week?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh
Pittsburgh doesn't have a very good team.
Lucas took that bet. I was like,
Mitch Trubisky is quarterback. You're not going to make him favorite. of the team.
And TJ Watt out, on the defense, that kind of turned the betters off.
all right, Joseph.
Okay, a little more high scoring. I think you renew your faith in Mac, and we'll give him. He's going to put up 24 points and lose 26-24.
Oh, that's a nice fun score. We're not.
Might even be a scoregami.
Russell.
I actually think the Patriots are going to have a little bit of a spike in scoring, but I'm with Joe. I think we're going to lose kind of a heartbreaker, 27-24 late, like on a Justin Tucker field goal, like late in the game.
All right, so, Timmy.
Baltimore put up 31 against us last year. I think Belichick's, he's in his lab right now devising some way to contain Lamar Jackson. I'd say 28-24 Baltimore.
Oh, you guys are all in around that same. Look,
Body
first of
will
all,
break the mold.
Patriots got speed this year for guys like Lamar Jackson. I mean, this is where they can handle. I think the Patriots match up really well with the Ravens. I like it that the Ravens don't have a poor defense. We always play well against Lamar Jackson. We always play well against fast quarterbacks like this. Patriots win 24-17. And
Nice. I take it. I hope you're right.
I hope you're right.
I'd
too.
be on your side, Scotty, if Duggar and Phillips weren't limited. you'd like good safeties against a guy like Lamar, someone who could come up and put the hit on him.
Yeah, look, I think like Russ said, I think the offense is going to develop. The more confidence that Patricia has in Mac Jones and their relationship grows, you would hope they'll give him more, reins to do good things. And it's at home, guys. This is home. This is us. This is what we do as Boston fans. Right?
Now, you know what I was wondering? Lamar
The
Jackson,
lighthouse will go off on third down.
Lamar Jackson's really playing the odds here that he's not going to get injured. Do you think that will affect his play this year from a safety standpoint?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a lot of money on the line about staying healthy.
You probably already have a contract drawn up for him. I would imagine that, he's ready to sign, and the Ravens aren't going to.
He told him no.
Yeah,
he turned it down. He refused. He's not
going
signing.
He's going to market, Scotty.
Oh, I would go to the market if I was him. Why not?
Well, they offered him the top dollar with the most guaranteed money, except for the Watson contract, and that's a sketchy one where he was only getting $1 million this year.
Playing with fire, man. The history of the NFL is, you would have thought that Robert Griffin III was going to go into the Hall of Fame. I mean, he was, and the history of the NFL is, if the NFL is not kind to those guys with that build and those kind of running quarterbacks.
Similar style of play, Russell. Very similar style of play.
Get your money. Those hip injuries. That's
your money.
Well, that and Shanahan beating the dead horse, running him into the ground in that playoff game when he was injured, kept him in there getting more and more injured.
Yeah. Well, I tell you something, no matter how ugly the game was, it was nice to have a Patriots win. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It makes the Sunday and the rest of the week feel a lot better. All right, boys, we go to, I have to do it, the Boston Red Sox. The season is ending, thankfully. Well, we were so excited about Garrett Whitlock signing that long-term deal. Maybe Garrett knew what physical limitations he has because he just had hip surgery, and we know how well that turns out.
And Tanner Hopkins had back surgery.
I can still walk upstairs and take the bus and stuff like that.
Oh, you can't pitch. This is just typical, Russ, of what this season has looked like. Even the young pitchers, how can Whitlock just have back and hip surgery?
Yeah, those are not surgeries that you want your young players to be having, right? Like if Rich Hill had to have hip surgery, we'd be like, of course Rich Hill has to have hip surgery. He's like 5 years old, for God's sake. You don't want Whitlock to have hip surgery. You don't want Tanner Houck to have back surgery. So yeah, it's grim, but I have to say, I really, really starting to enjoy these Bayo starts. He's a hell of a pitcher. And
that was the first home run he'd given up since he came to the major leagues last night.
Really, really exciting. Yeah.
Is Bayo a third starter next year?
He's an ace if he can pitch to lefties.
Yeah, I just don't think Joey's going to have enough stamina to go beyond, the third time around the order. He's going to be next year a 5-inning pitcher, which is fine. Yeah. Right.
He's Rich Hill Jr.
But he's somebody, Timmy, we can pencil in the rotation, and we could not have said that a month ago.
True. Yeah. Well, God knows what this rotation is going to look like next year.
Yeah. Right. Look, I don't think the Red Sox that Chris Sale's even in their plans at all.
Why make plans around that guy? Why? Why would you?
Now, who's on the free agency market this year for pitching?
Well, it's Rodon, right? I mean,
yeah, not that many guys you'd want, and I imagine the one or two guys that they're going to price themselves out of Boston, right?
Yeah.
Why should we ever say that priced out of Boston?
Well, we're paying for Devers, Bogart, and Judge.
So is the rest of the teams in the league that have great teams.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. Like, I just don't know enough about Rondon as a pitcher. Is he worth, like, if you're going to break the bank and give some pitcher a super long-term contract, are you going to give it to that guy? Like, I just don't know. I literally don't know.
Well, David Price just announced his retirement. The last lefty we gave big money to was David Price. I would argue that he worked out very well for the Boston Red Sox. Would you agree with that?
I'm not really a big fan of David
No.
Price.
Look, I think
He had a nice run there towards the end of 18, which
yeah,
helped.
look, I think he's in the middle. He wasn't a disaster. You didn't get obviously anything late career from David Price, right? Because you really sort of felt compelled, to move that contract. I think it's fine. I don't think it was a horrible signing. I don't think it was a great signing.
But
Scotty, I remember there were times when Price was not lighting it up here.
No, I know, but
he was not living up to the contract.
90% of the contract, he was of no use to the Red Sox.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's completely wrong, Joe. You could not.
90 might be a little high, but there was 50% at least, Scotty, where he wasn't giving us our money's worth.
Well, the last 3 or 4 years he's been in LA and we've been paying
Okay,
him.
but he got traded. But I would say when he was here, each year he contributed greatly to the team. When he came here, and then the next year they went from last to first, and then they won a World Series. And the guy was a huge contributor.
Greatly might be a little strong, Scotty.
Yes, hyperbolic.
They do not win 18 without him.
Okay, yeah, that's
Given.
He had a good series. He had a good playoff.
Oh,
but
yeah, he was
there was a lot of other times, Scotty, where he just wasn't like spectacular by any means.
Oh, I'll give you that, Timmy. Absolutely. But I'm saying for his contract and what we needed, look, we'll sign these guys all day. If Carlos Rodon comes here and we win a World Series because he was a main contributor, wouldn't you guys agree that whatever we paid him, that was well worth it?
Yeah, by and large, I more agree with you, Scotty. I think it doesn't have to be a horrible signing or a great signing. It can be in the middle. I just look at it, it was in the middle. They got some good stuff out of him. He was a pain in the ass at times.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like he, had the kind of stamina to be a number 1 or a number 2 starter. I would much prefer the Red Sox to pick, 2 or 3 prospects in the organization who they think other teams will value, where they have duplicates of, and go trade 2 or 3 prospects for a very good young pitcher, right?
Yeah.
Who you then could sign to it. Like, I don't know, like you break the bank for Carlos Rondon, and that guy looks like he could gain 10 pounds in a sitting. And all of a sudden he gets a big contract and we hate this guy by the end of July.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of 10-year contracts. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Give me a young, great pitcher. Right.
Yeah. Right.
The only pitchers I can recall that have lived up to long-term contracts are the 2 Tigers, Scherzer and Verlander, who've contributed the entire length of their contracts.
Look, does Chaim Bloom have it in him to trade some of his beloved prospects?
I don't know.
Is he like another Danny Ainge hoarding draft picks?
Yeah.
And then you need a guy. You need a guy like to follow him, who's not to take that bounty and then make something out of it.
That's how you take advantage of those cheap outfits like the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Kansas City Royals, is you give them someone that would be under their control for another 4 or 5 years for a solid major leaguer.
All you need, I watched 3 innings of that Worcester game last night because I was so bored with the Red Sox once Bayo came out. And all you need to look is the Worcester lineup to see exactly proof of why you should trade some prospects, because Bobby Dahlbeck was playing first base. And that jackass Jaron Duran was playing center field. And if you had identified those guys as, I don't know, hit or miss, maybe overrated, let's trade them 2 years ago, we'd have better players on this team.
Yes.
There's somebody on this show who had an agenda just now who needed to we could have been talking about the weather, and somehow we could have mentioned jackass Jaron Duran.
Appropriately named.
Appropriately
named. Now, is he on the Worcester fans for booing? Is he going to yell at them if they start winning and they're not allowed to?
You couldn't get a bag of balls for those 2 guys right now, right?
No.
And so that's why you trade some prospects. You just have to be good at picking the prospects to trade.
Has any new player ever uttered a stupider comment than he made that the fans aren't allowed to cheer for them because they booed him?
Yeah, and would you say the microcosm of the 2022 Red Sox is Bobby Dahlbeck or Jared Duran?
But
Throw
Yeah.
Keenan Houck in there too.
right, they're all three of them. Add them together and divide by 3, and that's the microcosm.
Yeah, I feel like it's Bobby Dahlbeck. I just feel like it was just that the Red Sox and Heimblum, the organization went to sleep this year. They in the offseason they didn't do anything, and in the regular season they just watched the car wreck and they just stared at it. And having Bobby Dahlbeck go up there and strike out every time, I've never seen that. Where and this guy belonged in the minor leagues. And
They were the 4th or 5th highest payroll in all the major leagues too, or over the CBT. So,
if we're having the same conversation a year from now, would you agree that Heimblum will no longer be the general manager?
Yes.
oh yes, yeah.
I mean,
I think he's got this year. I think he's got this year to basically retool. I think he's got to retool, and if they don't compete from pretty much day one next year, he's in trouble.
I mean, the ratings are way down. Right?
Well, who would watch him right now?
I know. I haven't watched it for quite a while.
I watch him.
I'm not even watching my 8th to 9th innings.
Yeah, I mean, look, I watch when Bayo pitches. I think Walk has been fantastic. I love watching him pitch. He works fast, throws strikes.
Very professional.
Very professional. Love watching him pitch. I'd watch Evaldi. Evaldi's I have a soft spot for Evaldi. Evaldi proved himself to this team forever with that performance in 2018.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to re-sign him though.
I don't think they are. I would love them to. I think he's a gamer. He gets injured, but he pushes through injuries. He's the kind of guy you want on a baseball team.
I prefer him to Pavetta any day, but I don't think they will.
He's really been the only guy he's lived up to his contract. That's for sure. Like he's really been the only steady influence on that staff for a while.
He's been good with Bayo too. He's like Bayo's mentor.
Out of all our pitchers on this team and on the whole roster, 40-man roster, I mean, he's the only guy you could call a number one starter, right?
He has that kind of stuff, yeah. And by the way, he spoke up this week. He said he probably wanted a lot of what's going on in the clubhouse. He's like, he said, I mean, he would have been perfect on this show. He's like, when you let guys like Renfroe go and Schwarber, and he's naming those guys by names. And then he says, Plawecki, he says, you lose something as a team when you let those guys who proved they could play in Boston go.
Yeah.
Plawecki was like a sentimental favorite of his.
Whatever.
The
sentiment is he's right. You have a bunch of guys who proved they could play in Boston who you let go.
Yeah, Vasquez.
We had a good thing going, and they flushed it down the toilet.
Yep.
I don't understand how could, and Timmy, you talk about how magical that last season was in the playoffs, and it really was. How can you take that momentum into the off season and then do what you did?
It's all based around thinking they were going to sign that Japanese right fielder. I think a lot of it had to do with that. And then when he signed somewhere else, that threw a huge wrench in the plans.
Then he made that really stupid deal of the JBJ for the.
Oh my God! There was no explaining that. There was no explaining that.
Now that that deal's over, would you put that one of the top 5 worst deals in the history of in our history of the Red Sox?
Nah, not that bad, but because there's been lots worse. That was just, made no sense.
Well, like any professional job, he's paid and we're paid for results, right? It's his job to, you get judged by the results, and these results have been horrible.
I think it's one of the top 5 worst deals that I remember since the 70s. I really think it's that bad. Russ, where would you put it?
I would say in the last 5 or 10 years, it's one of the worst deals, but I'm sure we could find other really, really, really crappy deals.
Babe Ruth for no known in that.
But it is sort of stunning at how little they ended up getting back, right? And how
what was his reasoning? Did he ever come out with his reasoning for it?
I think he wanted to build up the farm system, and he liked these prospects, but these prospects don't seem to be they don't seem to have a lot of juice.
Just another, then Vanellis and Hamilton are just another guys. Yeah, I mean,
And we
there's so
were
many-
Three minor leaguers.
we were mocking Milwaukee for signing JB. We were mocking them. We were laughing. We were chuckling. I mean, look at these morons. They signed him. Oh, we'll take that contract back, and we'll give you a really good player too. You know.
Okay, worst deal in our lifetime, not offering Carlton Fisk a deal.
Oh, your boy John, your boy
Hockey
John
Lyle
Lester
for
there.
Danny Cater.
Your boy John Lester has to be in this conversation, Scotty.
Oh,
Yeah, but I'm talking about, yeah, that.
I don't
not
know,
signing-
guys, I don't know how you could have any worse deal than that Jeff Bagwell deal, period.
Yeah.
Jeff Bagwell, we literally got
Anderson.
Jeff Bagwell went to the Hall of Fame and he never played a freaking inning for we got none of Jeff Bagwell's career.
Yeah.
None. Zero.
I know.
Wait, who did we get? We got a relief pitcher, right?
Larry Anderson.
Yep.
I remembered, because I love.
And he was a rental. He was a rental too.
I have followed the minor league system since I was 5-6 years old. And I was remembering always checking Bagwell's stats. He was New Britain back then. Remember, it was New
Yeah.
Britain. It's a double A.
Yeah.
And he would hit like 340, 350. He had no power, but I couldn't wait to see Jeff Bagwell in a Boston Red Sox uniform.
So
and then pull that shit.
I have a little Anderson story here. I actually got into a fist fight with him one time.
Go ahead. It's
A
you.
bad check.
I was driving a taxi at the time, and I got him as a passenger, and I was dropping him off, and we had a few words, and we got out, we duked it out.
Wait. What you have a few words about?
This is the best story ever on the
I
grandstand.
know. I mean, I've known you for 20 years, and you finally threw out the Larry Anderson story.
Yeah. I'll get it. I'll tell you more. I'll tell you more details later.
All
I
right.
didn't
don't
do.
get more?
I let's just say I did not lose the fight.
Oh. All
He was
right.
a pretty big cat.
He was about 6'3", but I'm feisty.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, I saw that during that playoff.
Went to the
game.
body.
Oh, boys,
Like a good hockey player.
He was a jerk. I would just
He
say that
wanted-
he was a real jerk.
oh my God, that makes the deal even worse.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
He
harassing
started saying, why do you even care what happened? We're here for the money. That's what he's saying in the back of the cab. You know, you people are morons for even caring.
Wow.
That's how it started off.
Okay, that was the worst deal. Now that he's harassing Tim, JP's own. Wow. Where is he? Is he still alive? Can we kick his ass now?
The fight was actually right in front of Who's on First.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I love that story.
So
wanna get more
I took him
detail.
from Daisy Buchanan's back to Who's on First.
And that short of ride, he got into a fight.
Well, when I got there, we were screaming at each other. We both got out, and I attacked him.
How much would you guys pay for the video of that?
I would mortgage my house.
I know. Oh my God. I guess I would write a $10,000 check to your favorite charity if you can get a video you kicking Larry Anderson's ass.
I would
I didn't
mortgage
give him
my
a
house.
beating. I didn't give him a beating, but I would say I got the better.
Okay, I don't think we can move on, and I think Joe and Russ can agree before you have any other bad trade, got into a fight stories.
That's it. That's it.
That's it.
All right. I just wondered. Okay. Well, if you think of one, just interrupt whatever we're saying
I will.
with that. All right. Go to the Celtics. Well, I was rocking the hat today.
Oh.
The old
Yeah.
time Celtics.
I have one question. Why did they wait until now to do the surgery on timeline?
Oh, my guess is I read today that he re-injured himself. Like he was doing workouts and the knee was hurting. It wasn't responding. I don't think he waited. I think he was in workouts and they just decided.
All
like,
right, that makes me feel a little better because
Yeah.
if they drag their feet
He
on
didn't
this
wait.
until the season,
No.
until camp is starting to do surgery.
No.
Why does that make you feel bad? That makes it feel worse that this guy did activity.
Well,
and he got
I
hurt
couldn't.
again.
It's like when I first read it, I didn't know an explanation behind it, and I was like, why would they wait this long? Was my thought. Now, it's like you're saying, it probably just happened recently.
Well, this guy clearly has arthritic knees or something very bad. I don't know. I don't know how you proceed. Joe, how do you proceed with a guy like this?
I don't know. His game is jumping. He's a jumper.
Yeah.
The only guy I ever saw that could jump like him was Russell. Russell was different. Russell could do it forever. Rob can't do it. He's going to get hurt every year with he's a big man jumping out of the gym, and when he lands, he bangs them knees up.
He's like a human pogo stick.
Russ, what do you do? Do you put him on ice till March?
No, I don't think you could put him on ice on March. I think if you, as I said to you guys yesterday, I would say we'll see you on the court in January, and really get, because by the way, here's the kid, he's tough. Like that guy had surgery. He came back. He played his ass off. He fought through. Clearly was not feeling well during the entire.
Yeah, he was picking his spots. He had to pick his spots when he would do it. But
and he's a tough kid, and I'm sure he wants to get back out on the floor. I think you got to protect him from himself and just say, we'll see you in January. And
as a fan, I'm so disappointed because he's a fun guy to watch play.
You're going to see him in November playing, but I would hope Ime keeps him to like a 10-minute restriction in say November and December.
Yeah,
10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, build him
10 minutes in November, 15 in December. Then in January, open him up to 20.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy you don't mind spending money to watch play.
Yeah.
Oh, he's fun. He's a lot of energy. Lots
Does some crazy stuff out there that's like, you're shaking your head that he did it,
Yeah.
Well, we talked about the deal that he signed and how the Celtics got a discount and what a great deal it was. Pretty smart on Rob Williams and get paid. You don't have to do anything the rest of your life, and your family's all set. And then if things work out and you can stay healthy, then you get a second contract. But Rob knew what he was doing with that first one.
He doesn't have to be on time anymore.
Did a smart thing, and he's been a good pro. Like he's really so impressive last year. Look, I say that about the whole team. That team is tough-minded. No one lollygags on that team. They play hard. They may not be the smartest group, collectively. They don't play the smartest brand of basketball, but that team tried its ass off from February on last year. Just
Rob, right from the beginning, even when Rob's footwork wasn't right and everything, the stuff that you could see athletically that he was capable of. So this guy's fun. He's entertaining.
Yeah, you gave him a nickname, Time Lord, and we're all joking on him when he first came here, late first round pick. But I would say just the free throw shooting. And you think a guy like him would be a terrible free throw shooter.
Where did the name Time Lord come from?
Because he was late for everything when he first started. He was late for his first press conference, and then he missed his plane for the first practice. He was late for everything at first.
I thought it had something to do with like the length of time you could stay in the air or something like that. It's not a favorable nickname, huh?
No, it was derisive at first.
Well, he dropped in the draft for the same reason that he was really immature, and that's why, ultimately, talent-wise, he was clearly a top 10 pick.
Yep.
Where did we get him?
Texas.
In the 20s.
No,
28, I think.
Yeah.
That's a good draft pick. That's a good draft pick.
Yep. Look, if we know that if Rob Williams can stay healthy, the Celtics can get back to the finals.
He could be the third most important player on that team if he's healthy.
Yep.
He changes things when he's out there.
Yeah, and do we have faith that Udoka can handle guys like that, having come from a system like San Antonio, where Coach Pop, that's what he did, right?
Yeah.
Time management.
Right. Yeah. Look, he needs guys. Like that brings us to now what do you do? And I wasn't one of the people banging the drum like you got to get another big in here once Gallinari went out, but I think you need one now. Like you need another body, right? Period.
I've always loved Hassan Whiteside. I've wanted to pay Celtics.
All those guys are now on the table. Dwight Howard, Hassan Whiteside, DeMarcus Cousins, LaMarcus Aldridge. All those guys are on the table.
But they're good regular season guys. They eat up minutes, and that's what you want to do, right?
What you need, right?
Yeah, because Al's another year older, and we saw how he slowed down in the middle of the season last year.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
And even in the playoffs, he was good one game, non-existent the next,
Who's that skinny 7'2" guy we got now?
Cornette.
Cornette.
Oh, for God's sake!
I guess his brother's the better player.
Did I miss something? I texted you guys. Did I miss something during garbage time that all of a sudden, where's the loop?
Yeah.
I think Wick has told them they don't want to spend any more money. Every
Yeah,
buck they spend now is cost him $4.
Yeah,
If they
I don't know, Joe.
sign
You
someone
say
for
that,
$2
I
million,
don't-
he's got to pay $8.
You say that, I'm not sure about that. Like and Wick came on the radio the other day and said, look, we'll sign somebody. I think it's Brad who was saying, especially when they had Gallinari, they had enough pieces to at least see what they had until the trade deadline. Then you go get someone. The problem now with Rob being out is you can't put, to Joe, to your point, you can't put that kind of stress on Horford, because Horford won't be there in May if you do
Right.
that to him in November and December, right?
You think they're worried a little bit about team chemistry, so they may be less likely to bring in a veteran guy when
Yes.
everybody
Who
still
might
trying
have a
to-
little dog in him like LaMarcus
Brad
Aldridge.
said it. Brad tells us exactly what he's going to do, right? Brad said, I need playmakers. We need bigs who can shoot. He signed Brogdon and Gallinari. He also said we have to be careful with team chemistry,
Yeah,
right? He said it.
yeah.
He's like, teams are fragile, right? So
Yeah.
they're not going to bring in, they only as a last resort do they want to bring in a DeMarcus Cousins, right? Who's just the skunk at a garden party all the time.
He's probably the last guy I'd want on this team.
Yeah. And he's
And,
always hurt.
Brad had never retweeted a tweet in 10 years of being on Twitter until the other day when someone said something nice about Cornette. First time he retweeted anything.
Okay, yeah, I'm not buying that at all. But I think that's and look, Jalen Brown. I think this has a lot to do with Brown. He's very fragile. You saw during the playoffs that Horford has to console him at times. Horford played a key role, and they don't want to bring in a guy that's messing with Jalen Brown's mental, abilities here. I think they go with the young guys, see if they can get a guy like a Cornette, see what Grant Williams can do.
Yeah.
Do they re-sign? Can they re-up Grant Williams right now?
Yes.
If they
He's
want to.
eligible for a rookie extension. Yes.
Do you see them doing that before the season starts?
Nope.
Look, they did it late in the game with Jalen Brown. None of us saw that Jalen Brown extension coming, and they extended him. If
That's a
Grant's
different
willing-
animal than Grant. That's a different animal than Grant.
If Grant's willing to play ball and sign for, like, if I was the Celtics, to be honest with you, especially with Gallinari and Robert Williams out, I'd look to try to get Grant now, because if Grant has a decent year, given the space that those injuries are going to create for him, his price is going to go up by $5 million a year.
I tell you,
Exactly.
he was the guy I wanted off this team most last year, halfway through. He found his game. He found his way.
What he has is he can defend Giannis.
That's exactly right, Scotty.
And that the value on that is huge. And look, other teams like the Miami Heat would love that. There's a lot of the Raptors. There's a lot of teams that want that. I agree
Cleveland.
with Russ. I think you have to make a deal for Grant. He wants to
I would
stay
do it.
here. And look,
There's one caveat. He's on the executive committee for the Players Association. Now, the Players Association is dedicated to getting the top dollar
Right.
wherever
Joe,
you are.
Jalen Brown
That's
was
just
too.
when.
Jalen Brown was
Yep.
too, and he signed. Like, if
And
you
Matthew,
go to him,
the 3 of the 4 guys are on the Celtics now. Brogdon is also on that
Yeah.
committee.
Jalen Brown they re-signed, they signed him to an extension. I think you just have to go to him with something that he does
Makes
the
sense.
math, like, Robert Williams did the math and was like, look, I could have a bad year and all of a sudden I'm an $8 million a year guy next year on the market. That's a restricted free agent. Remember, he's not going to be UFA, he's going to be an RFA at the end of this year.
That's right.
okay, if he signs, what kind of deal does he get? We'll start with Russell
12 to 15.
for 4.
I think if you went to him now, you could get him for 12 to 15. If the guy has a good year, you'll get 20.
For 4 years.
Yeah.
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 You know what I like about Rob Williams? He's shown that he can get better. You know,
But
that's
Grant,
something
I'm
that'll
talking about Grant Williams.
Grant Williams.
Right.
Grant Williams has shown that
Right.
he's capable of improving. A lot of guys kind of hit a spot like Mac Jones, and that's all they're going to be.
So you agree 12, yeah, oh my
But
God.
I'd say about
He slipped that
That's
one
it.
in.
That's it.
13, 14 million, right about there for 4 years.
Okay, all right, that's established. To me, he hates Mac Daddy. And you don't get to, you can't.
That was like the kidney punch you gave Larry Anderson.
We're talking about the Celtics. We left.
No, I went right for the knees. I went right for the knees.
No,
in the
okay,
takedown.
when he has a good game, I don't want to hear. We're gonna just blank. Can we blank him out? Us to ask Adam when we're talking about Mac Daddy.
Look, the thing about Grant
We're a
Williams,
big X.
there's a huge difference in the NBA on about whether a guy is a playoff player or not a playoff player. And Grant Williams is a playoff player. He didn't have a great final series, but he won Game 7 for the Celtics, right?
Yeah.
He is a player you can play for 28 games potentially in the playoffs, right?
And you know, the three is so gigantic in the NBA now.
Massive.
It's
Right.
huge, and he's proven he can
There
hit.
are guys who look like Grant Williams, play a little bit like Grant Williams, who are not playoff players for whatever reason, and he is. That's good.
Yeah, and for that reason, he opened the eyes of a lot of NBA players. I heard a lot of bouquets thrown his way from opposing players after that this conference final series.
And look, Smelly Kelly he won us that one, the 7th game, and
With 37 points.
the Smelly one got like $12 million, and he's the biggest stiff of all time. I mean, and Smelly is going to make over $100 million in his career. Oh my God.
And he's bringing it back to Canada where he's going to make it 125 million.
That grease ball, and he still has that long, greasy hair.
The man bun.
Oh my God, he's so tough to
Dougie
love.
Hamilton liked it that way.
That
He really
ass.
does. He
Just
says such kind things about you, Scotty. It's so sad. He speaks so highly of you.
He always
All right.
played good against the Celtics for the Heat too.
Yeah.
No, he was a stiff. Remember that one time?
Oh, he was a stiff. I agree. But when he was
No.
with Miami, he played every time we played them. He played decent.
There was one playoff I couldn't wait for him. Maybe 2 years ago, maybe in the bubble, where every time he was out there against the Celtics, he was just terrible. And it was like, of course he is, because he's terrible. All right, we got to go to finish up with the Bruins. And Zdeno Chara did come back, as I heard last week. I told you he was coming back to the Bruins, but it was for one day.
Yeah.
Look, 25-year career in the NHL.
Impressive.
Let me tell you, the day everything changed for the Bruins, when they became a real organization in this town again, was the day they signed Zdeno Chara.
Yep.
I couldn't believe that Jeremy Jacobs finally went into the piggy bank and got us a decent player. He was the best in the league when they signed him.
What was that, like a 10-year deal?
I
Yeah.
forget what it was, but
It might have been even 12 or 14. It was.
I
a
mean,
lot.
they had not done anything resembling that for ages, and that changed everything. That brought me back to the Bruins.
Where does Chara fit in the greatest Bruins of all time?
Questions?
Oh wow! I
Top
don't know.
top 20. I'll put him in the top 20.
Top 15, maybe.
Maybe
I mean,
top 15.
He won him a cup. I mean, he was the captain of the team and one of the 3 best players on the team that won a cup. I mean, we haven't won that many cups.
Okay,
And,
so
and the intimidation factor he brought to the ice was incredible. You know,
Okay.
you knew you always had the baddest dog in the fight. You know,
or defenseman or Bork, Chara third.
Brad Park,
Yeah.
Well, Park played for the Rangers.
Eddie Shore.
Yeah, I mean, Chara's in the
Clapper.
top 3 to 5, right?
Oh,
Defenseman.
defenseman. I'll put him in the
Defenseman.
top 5. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, but Park only
He
half.
was kind of a rental, but he had a
So,
few years here.
Timmy, Tuukka Rask in the top 5 goalies of all time for the Bruins.
When he's playing good, he is. When he's
When
playing
he's
good.
playing good. Well, he's not going to play anymore, so it's over.
No. You guys give me all this too. When he's on, I'm a big fan. When he's off, I'm not a big fan.
Okay, well,
Tim
answer the question.
Thomas was a stiff for 95% of his career. He just had that one great run in him.
Yeah, I mean, Tuca had some good runs. Believe me, he had some
Timmy,
good runs.
is he, answer Russ's question. We'll put the spotlight on you. Is he one of the top 5 goaltenders of all time for the Boston Bruins?
Well, we got probably
Jerry Cheevers.
Gilles Gilbert,
Peters? Andy
Pete
Moog?
Peters. I don't know.
Of course he is. Of
Yeah,
course
yeah, he is. Of course he is.
When you hit
He is.
Gilles Gilbert, you're too
Oh.
good.
Gilles Gilbert looked a
Tim-
lot like Tuca. They
Tim
were very
Thomas.
similar.
Tim Thomas when he was
don't
good.
you criticize Joe Gilbert. I love Joe Gilbert. That's
Of
one
course
favorite.
we did, but he wasn't better than Tuukka Rask, for God's
No,
sakes.
no. What did they
Yeah,
shoot?
he was mediocre. Who
Did
else? Who
Gilbert
else? Who were our
share-
goalies through the years?
No,
We've had a few good ones in there, right?
A lot of flashes in the pan. I mean, I think the
Yeah.
bottom
Yes.
line to me is it's very, if you look from Bruins history, what is it? Cheevers, who is the only other guy I can remember with that kind of extended,
Yeah.
Yeah.
high quality run, right?
Yeah. Gilbert was around for a while, right?
Yeah, he had
yeah, but
4
he
or 5
wasn't-
years.
Yeah,
But-
he wasn't that.
Pete Peters was good. I thought
Cheevers would have been the all-time guy, but he went to the WHA there with
Yeah.
Sanderson and
broke my heart.
Okay, then I
Mackenzie.
cannot.
Yeah.
If we're playing this game, this is a fun Bruins game.
Mhm.
I know where Russ is going to say. Where does Bergeron fit in the greatest Bruins?
top 10.
Oh, does he make top 5?
Well, we got Esposito, Eddie Shore,
Dick
uh,
Clapper.
Dick Clapper, the whole
Music.
Kraut line, right?
Yeah.
Busick doesn't have the most goals.
Cam Neely.
Yeah,
You know,
Oh, he's
I'll
better than Busick
I'll
and,
put,
and
I'll put
Neely, I
when
think.
Lucic was in his prime, I'll put him up there.
No,
Here's how I would answer it. In my lifetime, right, which really started with
Yeah.
Esposito or the big bad
Esposito,
Bruins.
Hodge, and Murphy.
Rick
Yeah.
Middleton.
He's in the top 5 for me, just because, again, extended run of
Longevity alone, yeah.
unbelievably high quality play
Yeah.
on 2 sides, just like.
I'd like
think
to
he's
get
better. I mean, I
the
put him-
list out and with all the names in front of us and really go through it.
Yeah, you'd have to go through it, but I'd put him ahead of Rick Middleton just because Bergeron is offense.
Yeah, he's ahead of. Yeah, he had more to his
Nifty.
game. Middleton could
Yeah.
score, but
Yeah.
Nifty was fun to watch.
Yeah.
You put him above Neely.
yeah,
It's so close though, Timmy, because Neely's highs were so high, but man,
Yeah.
he didn't play a full career. Right?
Yeah, Neely was a better player, but didn't have anywhere near
You put him
the
above
longevity.
he's above Kenny Hodge and Wayne Cashman. We'll say.
Oh,
Above
easily.
He's above McKenzie.
Yeah.
Right.
No, McKenzie was just I mean, he was just a
But
guy.
how about Tim's favorite, Terry O'Reilly?
Oh.
I would- I'd
two,
put-
two,
he's-
two, com-
No.
two completely different styles to play. Like I
Yeah.
like tough guys and fighters. That's why I put Lucic on the list myself.
I
He's
mean, I don't think you put him ahead of Esposito. You probably
No.
don't put him ahead of Bork.
No.
You don't
That-
put him ahead of Orr, obviously, right?
Eddie
That's where he
Shore.
sits. Russ, he sits
Yeah,
at
in
4.
my life, I'm just talking about my lifetime. I
Yeah.
didn't watch
Yeah.
Esposito
Yeah.
play a minute. I have
Yeah,
no
four-
idea how.
four- Four might be. Yeah, him and a few other guys are battling out for that spot. Probably. If we had the names in front of us, we could go through them.
Right, but pretty good career and one last year.
And Orrin Esposito, yeah, that was when the talent in the league was distilled down to just 6 teams.
But they weren't pulling from Europe, and they were not.
Oh,
pulling
no,
in.
no European.
There were tons
all
of Americans who
Canadians
should
and
have been
a few
out there playing,
Americans.
who were left on the plate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, Americans were definitely discriminated against.
Well, we were blessed to grow up in a time with that team. I'm telling you that if
Hey guys, I gotta go for 1 second. I'll be right back.
no, the show's
We're
ending.
wrapping up.
We're
Yeah.
wrapping up, Timmy. All right, well, that's our show for tonight. Want to thank Adam behind the scenes. Thank you very much, Adam, for all your help. Want to thank the fellas. Please check us out on Spotify. Follow us, and you'll get our podcast once a week. You'll be able to watch it wherever you are, anytime, any place, 24/7. We'll be back next week at 6 o'clock for another great show. My name is Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night. Oh, wow, that was a fun one, boy.